What's up, everybody? Swillow here, and today we're gonna be doing another Power Wars 4 guide. This is gonna be a mechanics guide going over Power Dash. So I did mention for anybody who watched my Cavendish video that I was gonna make a separate video. Yo, I can't talk today. A separate video talking about his special Hakubo dash, but I figured let's just turn this into a whole entire guide talking about Power Dash in general, since there's actually a lot of interesting changes, some for the better, some for the worse, compared to Dash system in the previous Power Wars games. So let's get right into this. I'm going to be using Cavendish as an example because I can actually cover a lot of the interesting Power Dash properties and techniques just off of him alone, and then maybe we can move on to a Sky type, since they also have a very different kind of Power Dash from most other characters. I also did make a Sky type guide, but I will try to make this a definitive Power Dash guide in general. So first up, Power Dash, you press circle, you can tap it, or you can hold it to do an extended dash. Of course it uses stamina, and in order to start refilling stamina, you have to just come to a complete neutral standstill. If you're attacking or anything out of your Power Dashes, you're not going to refill stamina, so you really have to look for how you can refill your stamina in between Power Dashes so that you can continue to use it. The startup of Power Dash is the fastest. It starts extremely fast and then it starts to decelerate or get slower throughout the duration of the Power Dash. So that's going to be really important when I discuss like a more advanced movement technique later on. But that's basically how it works. The startup of Power Dash is extremely fast and then it decelerates very quickly. So basically Power Dash as a defensive option is much more limited in this game compared to past games. You know, like you could Power Dash any direction pretty freely to kind of dodge attacks. You could dash back and such. In this game, your character will dash the direction you're facing. So you'll start dashing and you can press left and right to kind of like turn a little bit. You can get a little bit of directional influence here. So you see, like if I press right when I Power Dash, I can sort of get a more right angled startup dash. But the thing is, like if I press straight back, for instance, I'll just like never be able to just straight up dash back. You know, I have some tricks for dashing back, which I'm going to go over, but that's basically what's important to know. Power Dash is influenced by your direction you're currently facing. You can turn it and move it, but it's very influenced by the current direction you're facing. Offensively, you know, you can see when you Power Dash into enemies, it will actually stagger them. It even deals damage. So as you see, these enemies are losing health just from the Power Dash. So Power Dash is not just a dash, but it's a very offensive option in this game, as it can damage enemies, it can juggle them, and it can very easily allow you to extend your combos. I feel like that was like the main emphasis of Power Dash in this game. You can even tell just by the name, like the fact that it's called Power Dash. So they really wanted you to use this as an aggressive and offensive technique. But you're also going to rely on it for movement, defense, and stuff too, because honestly, you don't really have other movement or defensive options in this game. So the Power Dash is, much like the dash system in Power Wars 3, responsible for a lot of your movement in general, but it's extremely emphasized around offensive play in this game. So, you know, like some of the most common stuff obviously is you're just going to do an attack, and you know, you're going to Power Dash to try to catch up to the enemy. You know, it kind of depends. Let me try to find a good move I can actually Power Dash after. But you know, you can Power Dash to kind of chase enemies and stuff like that. You know, this is all. I'm going over pretty basic stuff that I feel like you all know, but I just want to cover the foundation before we go into more complex stuff. So certain things you can do to Power Dash. Let's say if you want to Power Dash back, or let's say you're attacking an enemy and you want to try to Power Dash maybe back, you can start turning your attack, right? So I can attack with square and I can turn around and then I can Power Dash. So that's like one important thing. During your square string, you can actually manipulate the direction you're facing pretty easily. So I can be attacking, I can turn around and then Power Dash back like that. So that's kind of like that's a little trick for being able to do like a back dash. The only problem is that it's very hard to pull that off on like sheer reaction for certain attacks, because that small time just to turn around during your attack is enough to not be able to do a reactionary dash. But it is a cool little option to position yourself a little differently and dash a little differently. Also, another thing I want to talk about, especially like fundamentally, is how Power Dash has a homing property. So if you do not press any direction, you're not pressing any direction on your left analog stick that you move with, and you Power Dash, you're gonna focus on the target you're locked onto. So as you can see, I'm facing completely backwards. When I press circle, it goes straight for Bellamy, despite the fact that that breaks the general rules of Power Dash. You know, like I said, normally you can't dash any direction besides what you're facing, but this breaks the rule. In the case that you're locking onto an enemy, if you do not move the stick and you press Power Dash, it's going to automatically focus the enemy. So this is especially helpful because of the air combat, right? I feel like this is something they did because of the air combat, so that you can kind of follow up, because it gets a little wild and wonky once you factor in the air combat in this game. And I guess that was kind of like their way to keep things contained and controlled, having that homing Power Dash ability. So see, I can be backwards in the air and I'll Power Dash down to the ground. You know, like I'm just going to, I can be like, let's say I can attack and then I can dash past him. Well, since his armor's broken, let me find another enemy. So let's say I attack, I dash past him, and then I can do some, I know you can do some like jump cancel. It's kind of hard to show, but you know, like anytime you want to just automatically home the enemy, you do not push your analog stick any direction, and you're going to target the enemy. So that's a big important thing. I actually didn't realize that when I was first playing the game, but that was because I was playing a Japanese version, right? That I couldn't read the tutorial on it. So yeah, definitely, I'm sure like a lot of you probably know that by now, but I just want to let you know, because it took me like a couple days after first playing the game to realize that was a possibility, due to me starting this game with the Japanese version and I couldn't read the tutorial properly. Okay, so let's kind of talk about some more advanced tricks in terms of Power Dash. So I was talking about how you can, I don't even have the right stuff for this. I was talking about, let me go back out. So I was talking about how you can use the startup of Power Dash is faster than the later part of Power Dash, right? So you can sort of do something, and this was kind of similar to Pirate Warriors 3 too, or past Pirate Warrior games, you know, like the way you could chain dashes by essentially canceling an attack into dash and canceling the attack into another dash. You know, like you could use that in Pirate Warriors 3 to have like unlimited invincibility frames, or I'm sure you all know stuff like the infamous Tashigi dash, which required you to cancel her forward R1 into dashes. So there's like a lot of, what I'm going to teach you is already like, should be familiar to people who played the past games and understood how the dash worked, but it's still an important thing that a lot of people may have disregarded in this game because of how much the dash has changed. So basically the idea here is you're going to exploit the extremely fast initial startup of dash. You're going to cancel it into an attack, you know, square, triangle, whatever, and then you're going to just press dash again. So you're going to get like a looped dash, and it will move faster than just normally power dashing. Of course, the main catch is that it's going to eat your stamina up. So this is really only practical for speed types, right? And it only works like even more only when you're in full force burst. So right now I'm going to get my full force burst so I can show that off. So I got full force burst. So I'm just going to go into full force burst. And you know, I'm basically going to just use triangle to circle. I use triangle to circle because it's easier to kind of piano from your, slide your finger from triangle to circle repeatedly. So you can move like really fast. So you see by doing that, you know, you're going to get a very quick dash movement technique. And it moves faster in the air too. This is something interesting. Being in the air and like looping dashes just works a lot faster than being on the ground. I guess there's like some sort of frames on the ground that, like extra frames on the ground that you don't get in the air in terms of doing that. So this also depends on the character. Some characters move a lot faster than others. Tashiki I think is a great character to use it with. Ace is really good with it. I'm trying to think of a character that's not too good with it. Carrot is a character that's not like the greatest with it, surprisingly. Despite her being the speed character, she's not like the best with this thing. But yeah, that's sort of like a movement trick right there. And you know, mostly only speed types can properly utilize it though. You know, you could use it in small bursts with other characters or outside of full force bursts, but mostly speed types are going to take the most advantage of that. Let's go into Hakuba. So Hakuba has a very interesting dash, almost similar to Pirate Warriors 3, right? So Hakuba is the guy who can dash whatever direction he wants. So he can dash, you can press any direction you want in the dash button, and he's going to instantly move that way. So this might just be because of he has like a teleport dash, right? It's like a teleport property. He also has iframes kind of during that quick movement as well. So, you know, Hakuba dash is actually really interesting, and I feel like that's how everybody's dash should be. Like if they change Hakuba's dash into like the standard dash across the board, that would be such a great thing. So you see that, like the ability to just quickly dash back. I can dash out of the way, you know, dodge moves, you know, like the movement and the defense play becomes so much more intuitive having Hakuba's dash, which is really cool. So that's definitely a thing. You know, you can still do the movement thing with Hakuba. I don't think it's like as necessary with him because his dash is really interesting. His dash is it's just a bit different and more interesting compared to other characters. But that's definitely like what I wanted to talk about in my Cavendish guide that I didn't talk about. Now let's go to speed types, because speed types have a lot of interesting things about their power dash as well. And you know, like power dash, I really hope that they kind of change it up eventually, you know, whether it's through updates or in a sequel, you know, Pirate Warriors 5, whatever. I mean, I think this is something a lot of people have talked about as well. Like, I think it just needs to be more similar to how it was in the old Pirate Warriors games, right? Like, it could be a mix of what it is now, but just give us back things like dodge offset and the ability to freely move any direction. I'm not really sure why they removed those properties. Like, there's not really any sort of game design in this game that indicates why they removed dodge offset and why they removed directional dodging, but they did, and I've definitely seen a lot of people take notice of that, as it makes playing defensive in this game much more difficult. You know, it doesn't feel as intuitive as past games. So I definitely hope that they make some kind of effort to merge some of the old dash properties with the new dash. So we got a sky type here. Sky types are really interesting with their power dash because, you know, they can basically do an infinite extended dash, right? You just hold the button and you go forever. And not only is this like unbelievable for movement, but sky types also have invincibility frames on their power dash by default. So, you know, like you can just straight up go through attacks head on. You can just kind of like be power dashing into an enemy and go through attacks. You can see how much armor damage I just dealt to him there. Like, it's really strong. The sky type power dash is pretty impressive actually in a lot of ways, and I feel like I don't actually utilize some of its impressiveness as often. I'd say the only thing kind of rough about it is that it makes the power dash can be a bit of a stamina hog, and it's a little bit harder for sky types to like fluidly and effectively refill their stamina compared to other types, right? Since they're going to be airborne, and airborne just tends to be a little bit more slower compared to ground play. But that's one really important element is being able to hold those iframes and just like move or kind of go into an enemy to remove their armor, you know, more safely. It definitely opens up a lot of different gameplay possibilities compared to other character types. Now let me get my full force burst. I mean, full force burst isn't really going to allow me to do anything besides kind of just be faster with it, but it becomes an amazing movement technique. Like, I definitely talked about this in my Sky type guide, but you see like the movement is insane. As you can see like how fast I'm able to just move through this map. Definitely like Sky types are without a doubt the fastest, most mobile characters because of their dash. So definitely take advantage, but use all of that power dash goodness with the Sky types. It's very strong, very effective. Allows you to quickly get around the map. I would say that's pretty much it in terms of this guide. If you have any questions or would like further explanations on anything talked about, definitely let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the guide. Thanks for watching.